Here is your Marsh plan to how to create a successful startup that makes at the moment 1 million, more than 1 million annual revenue, and who is planning to do a 250,000 every month in 2 years.
Yeah, the mission is everyone can run a live show, and that's really something we want to accomplish by the end of the year, that our application can be used in a broader sense.
Somehow these big broadcasters cannot, or are not able to create such a software, or not in this quality.
Yeah, there's a lot of people making online shows or events, esports. There's way more market there. Yeah, there's podcasts also. We are used, for example, for news podcasts of newspapers.
It almost looks like you knew exactly what you are building. What is your background? How did you know the problem that you're solving?
Everybody's moving to their phones and to their tablets. So that's why we thought, okay, we have to make something that everybody can use.
To have the contact with the real broadcaster, with the real daily life problems helped you a bit, although you are coming from the background, but I guess, every part of television is different.
BotTalk podcast.
Erik from ThinkerList, thank you very much for joining into our podcast, new episode, special guest. So in our podcast, Startup Story, and we are very excited to hear your story. And maybe the best part, the best thing to start from is, what is ThinkerList? Can you give us a kind of elevator pitch?
Yeah, of course. So ThinkerList is an online platform for creating live shows like TV shows, news, live events, esports, and so on. And basically, we do three things with our platform. That's the planning of content. So who are we going to invite? Who's responsible for what? And then making the rundown. So in detail, what will happen during the show, what clips will we play, and so on. And then the automation. So everything that's gathered in that rundown, we can automate for these types of shows. That's a bit what we do.
Great. I just, as we mentioned in the pre-show, I just went to the landing page and watched the intro, which I highly recommend. Highly recommend. It's very informative, and we may be stealing this idea. I love the combination of product screencast and your your live video. So I love that.
Our story, yeah.
Yeah, that is a great idea. But I've seen so much detail there. For example, calendar view, and the planning and the queuing of what topic is going to do what. It almost looks like you knew exactly what you are building. What is your background? How did you know the problem that you are solving?
Yeah, good question, of course. No, I am. Oh, my chair is going down. No, I used to be a TV director, so I directed a lot of TV shows, also sports shows, game shows, talk shows, all these things. And I used to do that for 12, 13 years. And my biggest frustration was always that when you're a director, you're often on the technical side when you're really recording everything. And my biggest frustration was always that it was very hard to get all the creative ideas, the unstructured creative ideas of the editorial team, to get them in this very technical, rigid environment. And that's why I thought I must be able to solve that. I knew a bit of programming, and then so in 2014 I left the company where I was working for 12 years, and I started this company, we just went for it.
Wow! So you built the first prototype yourself? Do I understand this correctly?
Yeah. My dad used to have the first computer that existed. It was already kind of a laptop. It was very heavy. And I immediately started, instead of gaming, I started creating small apps. But I wanted to be in contact with people, and I loved making television. I remember that every time I went with a bus to school, I passed a big venue where there were always concerts or so on, and there were these big trucks in front of it. And I thought, one day I want to sit in one of them because I really want to make television. So for me, it's always been between these two, making television, directing, and developing. Yeah.
Wow, great. So this is a kind of a dream combination. So one of your
Yes.
hobbies and then your past jobs then combining.
Yeah, two
Great.
hobbies.
In terms of, so you yourself had the problem and you wanted to, and you maybe knew how to solve it. In terms
Mhm.
of current customers, who are they? Can you like describe your like ideal customer profile that is who is
Yeah,
buying
sure.
your software?
Mhm. So at the moment, our platform, given my background in high-end broadcast television, I started making something for high-end broadcast television. So currently, our clients are broadcasters and production companies that make these types of shows in bigger teams. So the advantage here is that we have for a software application, we have a rather big yeah, there's a lot. The deal sizes are quite high, and they also tend to stay long because if the whole team is working in such a platform, they tend to stay long. We are releasing a new version of our platform later this year, where we want to where we've made a lighter version that's also so that also that's more a SaaS product, so that they don't need us anymore to onboard, and that we can really scale. So we do a lot of things in other countries, but yeah, we really wanted to have something that we can scale with marketing, and not with door-to-door sales efforts, and that will be released. So that's a bit of a shift. Yeah, the high-end broadcasts. Toward and yeah, the idea of a company, so our mission is everyone can run a live show, and that's really something we want to accomplish by the end of the year, that our application can be used in a broader sense. Not that we will leave the line broadcasters aside, definitely not, but yeah, we really want to make something that grows.
So you basically democratizing this whole, planning of the big show and bringing it more
Yeah.
to a broader audience, and of course scaling. We talked about that, and then of course the question is, where are you in the kind of stage-wise, company-wise, and maybe where are you now, and maybe the following question, where you've been a year ago, because we know each other through Stadium. The great program that BotTalk is in the development phase now, and maybe you could also describe, okay, where you now, what was the Stadium, and where were you maybe 12 months ago?
Yeah. So yeah, we used to double our revenue every year. This year it will be around 1,200,000, I think, that we will that our revenue will be. And yeah, we tended to always double. So in the past, this year we didn't double entirely. That's also because we took another approach in our with our sales and marketing team. My colleague and I, who started the company, Kurt, we went door to door in the beginning, and now we changed the approach. We are focusing more on marketing, so everything changed. So that's a bit why everything is. It's about to explode, so it's going to happen every minute now. There's a lot of customers in the pipeline, yeah, because we changed a bit our approach, this year will not be entirely the double of last year. So, and at the moment, our team, we are 24. We raised some capital, about 1 million. What is it? 2 years ago already, yeah, that's a bit where we are now.
Okay, so looks like you are on this, or short from a real scaling trajectory. Yeah, maybe then go back to the question of Stadium. How did it help you? What was important? Why did you do it in the first place? Maybe because you were one of the finalists, and they'll be very interesting, I think, for others that are listening, that are now maybe applying or already applied, will be interesting your ideas, because I must say, when we've been in Bergen, and we watched the presentation. This is what helped us to actually realize what we needed to pitch to go to development stage, because to be honest, all the Stadium documents, there are lots of documents, should I say?
Yeah, that's true.
But when we've seen, you, and then you pitch, and then it just, we realized straight away what we are wanting to actually build. So how was it for you? What was?
Yeah, so our main goal was so we created something for high-end broadcast television, and we want to go more towards everyone. And if we look at the future, then I think that we will not be making a lot of high-end daily talk shows and real news programs. I don't think that we will make it very long. Everybody's moving to their phones and to their tablets. So that's why we thought, okay, we have to make something that everybody can use. And what will survive, definitely, that's real life content like sports and esports and news, online news, so we really want to have the experience to work in news and to learn news, and we really wanted to have the automation we want to make it very, very good for news, to make online breaking news, for example. So that was a focus in our Stadium project, this automation. If you want to make content online as a broadcaster, then mostly the budgets are not that high. So you need you do it, and also you want to make it now and not wait for the whole team of 30 people coming in. No, you want to make it now as soon as possible, because there's an opportunity, because something just happens. And then that means that you need to be able to do it with one person or with two persons. So with not too many people, but do very high-end stuff with these two people. And yeah, we really wanted to have an experience with the broadcaster, to build that together with them, to see what they need, to listen to how they think everything will be going. And yeah, that was really why we wanted to be in the Stadium project, to learn from a broadcaster, because I never made news. I can imagine how it is made, and I'm always very curious. But we really wanted to have this experience. Yeah.
Great. So basically, to summarize, to have the contact with the real broadcaster, with the real daily life problems helped you a bit, although you are coming from the background. But I guess every part of television is different. So news is different from maybe something else. You said the sense of urgency and the sense of you have to do it now, and maybe switching gears a bit, because that is like a personal question. Maybe you left the company, so you left your previous company just around the time when YouTube creators exploded. So it will be very interesting to see, because I knew the guy from, I think, Austrian broadcaster company, which was mocking, which was saying, okay, everyone was mocking YouTube, saying, look at the quality. We have the best TV quality ever. Internet will never surpass the quality of the thing. And then YouTube exploded. So the question, I guess, is how the broadcasters generally coping with this, coping with the millions and millions of views of these creators that create from nothing.
Yeah, we see different things. So considering news, we see that they're making more and more content online. Yeah, I myself, I only consume news in the app of our national broadcaster, actually. That, and also, and I think the quality is also very high. I find everything I need in the detail I want, so the quality is quite high. Maybe even higher than the 7 o'clock news. I don't know. And then for production companies, we see that they also often tend to think on online first, because when I was working for the production company in Belgium, online was always something that we had to do, and that was something extra we needed to film, or something extra that needs to be edited. Now it's more and more the other way around. And certainly in Great Britain, I saw that a lot, that they first think about, that they even film that they're before they're broadcasting the show, that they film some bloopers or whatever, that they already start buzzing on the internet. So the focus is a bit shifting there. That's good. And but silently, I think where before, when you had a good brand on a broadcaster, then you could also create a good brand online. And I think that's a bit shifting. That you can you can be big online without having a show on TV. You're even invited in these shows these days as an influencer or so on. So I think that's a bit changing.
Yeah, I mean, I think this also the connection actually with what you're doing. So that startup like you solving this huge problem, as I can imagine, with a structured data, and everything should be on time and so on. And somehow these big broadcasters cannot, or are not able to create such a software, or not in this quality. And this is, I think, amazing kind of.
That's also the reason why I left the company where I was working for. Their focus is making television, and making an app or an application to make it more efficient. They could make it. It would cost a lot of money, but they are not gonna sell it to other people, because then it's a bit their know-how. They didn't see a business model in it, which is very logical, I think.
Good for you. Good for you. You saw the business model, and it's amazing revenue that you are guys now generating. I think every SaaS company could only dream about it. But I think what is interesting is what you said about the trajectory. So first of all, you kind of did a concierge service, right? You did one door-to-door kind of sales. I'm guessing based on your personal contacts or your history. Okay, and then based on that, you are what you're launching now is a kind of thing that will kind of sell itself. When did you realize that what you're doing basically as a I would say like an agency kind of product, that it has legs of its own? When did you realize, okay, that could scale?
I think it's about a year before we had our grant. So 2000, what was it? 19 or no? Yeah, 19 or so. No, not grants. I mean investors. We were doing a lot of high-end broadcast shows, and we were repeating the same things all over again. So setting projects up, it was always the same questions they have. We started to do some smaller things like some events or an online channel, and they all had the same problems. They always all think the same. So I thought, let's make something where they can configure it themselves, where they don't need us. They can find us via chat or something, I don't know, but so that it can scale more quickly. So that's also the reason. That was also how we stepped to our investor, like, okay, we have this platform, it works very well for television, we have all this experience, let's now make something that can scale. Let's build it. That was really the pitch we gave to our investors. Also, the market size is way bigger, of course, if you focus yourself on high-end broadcast. There's a lot of people making online shows or events, esports. There's way more market there. There's podcasts also. We are used, for example, for news podcasts of newspapers. Everywhere where there's volume in creating live content, there we can help.
That is a really interesting kind of perspective. We had on the last episode, we had Jens from Book, and basically what
Mm-hmm.
this is a startup that is basically a SEO engine for publishers. So
Mm-hmm.
and what he said that they were publishers themselves, and they published book and helped others publish, and then they realized, wow, we are not publishers anymore. We build these tools, and we're actually a software company, and that's where they pivoted to so here is I see a kind of although you already
Similar,
had
yeah.
some tools, but it's very similar kind of thing to notice that people, maybe you were thinking, okay, we are this production company with some tools, and then sometime you just realize, okay, we are actually a software company and not a video production company.
Yeah, and what also helps is projects like Stadium. We had an early I think after 1 year we applied for grants at the government, and that also helps a lot because you start thinking about a business plan. Is it really worth it to build this? If how many people would buy it, and would we have enough money to support all the developers and whatever? That helped a lot. Thinking about the scalability, is it really worth making a business out of it? That's the good thing about these startup programs. So as an advice to all people that want to create a startup, started something, just apply for grants at the government. Think of something very fancy that you will develop. You will definitely think of something, and they support you, and you start really you start thinking about all these details, important details to build a business. It's not only having a good product, of course.
Yeah, I think it's a key also maybe to mention where you're based. So where you're based in Europe?
We are based in Leuven. It's a city next to Brussels in Belgium, university city. Our office is in an old brewery of Stella, the
Wow.
beer.
Okay. Wow. Very amazing stuff. Amazing. Yeah. And I think it's a key what you said about the grants that helped BotTalk a lot as well, especially during Corona crisis, as you can imagine. And we started in 2019, so for us it was kind of very hard times. But I realized I think later, much later than I should have the advantages of not being in the valley, not being in the United States. So, and this is like, wow, we have this all great opportunities of basically free money that you can build some prototypes with, and at the same time do some good for the maybe your local national broadcaster or your local newspaper or whatever to support those guys, but in the same time also build something. And it's a great advice just to build something. I'm very glad that you mentioned it. In terms maybe of looking at the more global scale that you are looking right now, where do you see ThinkerList in I don't know, 3 years? What is your kind of a big aha thing that you're working towards?
Yeah, in 3 years we really want to achieve this idea of everybody can run a live show. It's a bit like YouTube made everyone a broadcaster, and to be a broadcaster, you need some tools to. Everybody needs some tools to run it. So that's a bit what we want to achieve. I think the whether you are building a show for a funeral or for the news or for an esports or big event or a football match, in between the matches, these shows, it's always a bit the same. So we really want to grow in all these sectors. And I think for our goal is in 2 years to have a revenue of 250,000 per month. So that's the goal we set now. I think for 2 years is and the big advantage of the way you can do sales when you have a scalable project is you don't need to do the door-to-door thing and the one-on-one thing. You can use the tools they are called Facebook and Instagram and to scale, and people can just go to your website, discover it. And so we will focus a lot on marketing. So it's also it's not that we're going to focus on Western Europe or Eastern Europe. No, once the SaaS product is fully functional, yeah, we can target everyone. We will just target by segment. Like I think the people that are making a funeral, we should target them differently than the ones that are creating a news show. So that's a bit how we will target the different markets. So that's our goal to be used way broader, and that so that everybody who wants to make a live show can do that. And yeah, we definitely want to become the biggest rundown tool that exists in the industry.
Yeah, great. Maybe a follow-up question to that. In one hand, you want to expand, you want to grow, you want to kind of include everything, or every kind of every vertical. On the other hand, you said already you need to focus on different approaches to verticals. How are you going to solve this kind of problem? As you said, maybe funerals and esports are different. Is it going to be like different landing pages? Is the product going to change a bit? So what is your approach there?
Yeah, it's different landing pages and flagging functionality. So flagging functionality on or off. And the sales team also now works in sprints. So they do sprints of a couple of months, and they focus on a certain market. And we plan these sprints in advance, so that if the dev team needs to make something, or the marketing team, or they need to adjust some web pages or some, so that they have the time. And that's a bit how, yeah, it's in the sprints that that's the way we want to target these different verticals.
Yeah, makes sense. So the sprint starts basically identify the ideal customer for the market, and then going and attacking this market. Makes sense. Well, it looks like the sales team that you guys have very structured. Did you kind of build it internally, or did you have some external help? I think for the most of the startups, this is one of the pain points. Okay, you have a product, you have maybe product market fit. How do you actually sell on scale?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a long story, of course. Luckily, I had a friend of mine that joined very quickly. I think after a small year or something. He was more business focused, and together we started to take the first steps. But yeah, having some, it's not, as I mentioned earlier, it's not just having a very good product. You can be a very silent developer in a corner somewhere and making something great, but yeah, you need to get it out there. People will not discover it. You need to do marketing. So yeah, we have a growth hacker who is constantly creating posts and looking at the numbers. We have somebody who makes content, and we also pretty early had somebody who worked like 1/5 for us. He did the financial side, and that also helped a lot. He worked for a very professional high-end baking company, bread baking company, and he had a lot of insights in finance, and that also helped a lot. How do you approach investors, create a business plan? So yeah, that was really key. So having somebody who helps you with sales, somebody who can make a very good business plan that can convince an investor, and work on marketing. And marketing is key, I think, these days.
Well, here is your March plan to how to create a successful startup that makes at the moment 1 million, more than 1 million annual revenue, and who is planning to do a 250,000 every month in 2 years.
Yeah.
That is some great stuff. Thank you very much. It was genuinely very interesting to see those kind of insights. Maybe how can people reach you? When to expect this big launch of the new SaaS product, when you guys are launching, and maybe a couple of words. Did you make already decisions about pricing, or those are a bit different for each market?
No, so the product we currently that people currently use, we have the same business model on that. So the sales team already applies we tested the business model already on what we have now. So it will, users will hardly know that it's some it's something new, it will just have an onboarding where you can swipe the credit card and so on. Yeah, so the launch will be in November, December. That's the idea. So that and around the beginning of the year, we already launched some tools for news also, because we want to. We're working together with some local news broadcasters also in Holland. So yeah, there's a lot to come by the end of this year for us.
Perfect. And people can reach you by going on tinkerlist.tv.
Yes, or at my email address, Erik@tinkerlist.tv. Yeah, no
There you
problem.
go. There you go. And maybe just show some interest or just love and support for the
Yeah.
SaaS company.
Always welcome.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Erik, thank you very much. Very insightful. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I learned a lot, and I really like when I can kind of dig deeper, and thank you for being so open, and that helps, I think,
Thank you. Yeah.
all the startups out there. Thank you, Erik.